Hello and welcome. This is James Blanchard Cisneros at your service. Today I'll be reading the November 3rd Daily Inspirational Message. It's roughly 2 paragraphs long. It's just 6 points. And then I'll center myself, say a little prayer, and then make a couple comments on the message, and I trust it will assist both of us on our journeys. Okay, here we go. The title, 6 Steps for Creating a Less Judgmental and More Peaceful World. Okay. Today, if your ego demands judgment, recall the following. Number 1, God uses all for good. God is love, and you have co-created your journey with the divine. Being love, the divine will use all your choices and experiences to assist you in your growth, healing, and awakening. Point number 2, throughout the day, keep asking yourself, how am I feeling? You belong in the state of peace. If you're not at peace, then let this be a signal to you that your mind is somewhere you do not belong. Point number 3, when you're not at peace, practice catching yourself as quickly as possible. The more you practice catching yourself, the less time you'll spend out of alignment, and the more time you will spend in the state of peace. Point number 4, practice forgiving yourself. Forgiveness, being an expression of love, aligns you with the state of peace. Forgiveness reminds you that your journey is a sacred co-creation with God, and thus it's perfect. Number 5, practice forgiving others. Your brothers and sisters' actions are really just helping you practice remembering your oneness, and thus that every part of you is worthy of peace. As you are forgiving them, you will be healing, nourishing, and awakening yourself. And point number 6, become your own cheerleader. The ego would insist your personal growth is no big deal. In truth, the world is simply made up of thoughts we think. When you become a creator of forgiving and loving thoughts, you help guide those around you to a less judgmental and more peaceful world. All right. 6 steps for creating a less judgmental and more peaceful world. All right. Today, we're going to practice awakening that part of our mind that has been programmed by the ego to judge God's creations, to judge our journey that we have co-designed with God. And so that part of our mind remains asleep to our true, loving, non-judgmental, forgiving nature. Okay? So anytime we fall into judgment, let us remember these 6 points. First, that God uses all for good. Okay. Let us remember that because God is perfection, and you have co-created your journey with God, therefore your journey, and thus other people's journeys, must be perfect for them and for us. And so the more we practice remembering that this is a sacred co-design with the divine, the less judgmental we need to become, or we're forced to be by the ego's past programming. And so God uses all for good. Remember, whatever is happening to you, no matter how dark or challenging it might seem to be, in some way, shape, or form, God, the universe, source, light, is going to use it for your good. And all you have to do is remember a lot of your challenges from your past, and how little by little you overcame them, and how little by little they became lessons and wisdom. And so when the ego's trying to judge, just relax. And remember, God uses all for good, and this situation will in some way help me heal, grow, and awaken. Okay. Number 2, throughout the day, keep asking yourself, how am I feeling? Okay, you belong as one with the state of peace. Your truth is love. And peace is one of the primary expressions of that love. And so if you're not at peace, it's the ego's past programming, the ego's judgment, who's in control. And so don't judge yourself if you find yourself in that judgment quicksand. Just simply realize it and ask yourself, you know what? Do I belong? Do I really belong here? Is this going to make me fulfill my function as the light of the world? No. We've tried that before numerous times, and it never made us a brighter light. So let us simply remember that we belong in the state of peace. And when we're not at peace, it's the ego who's thinking for us. Let us take back control of our own minds, align it with the state of peace, and offer whatever peace would offer, instead of whatever judgment would offer. Point number 3. When you're not at peace, practice catching yourself as quickly as possible. Okay. Here again, when you're in judgment, what the ego wants you to do is be in judgment of self or others, and then keep in that path. Keep walking towards the darkness. Because the ego wants you in the darkness. The ego doesn't want you aligned with the light in you. Because if you were aligned with the light in you, if you trusted in the divine design, what use would you have for the ego's judgments? If you know that everything's working for good. And so just keep on practicing catching yourself when you're in that judgmental state. Don't punish yourself for that. Just come back and say, oh, cool. I recognize that I was somewhere I did not belong, and now I can come back to center, come back to through forgiveness, come back to center, and offer peace to my brothers and sisters and to myself. Point number 4, practice forgiving yourself is point number 4. Okay. Again, remember that your journey is a sacred co-design with the divine. Yes, you're judging yourself because somewhere in your past programming, it has been taught to you that this action or reaction or emotion or feeling is not right. It's not good. It's not helpful or productive. And so the ego uses that judgment to try to separate you from source. Because the source is perfection, and you're constantly in that judgment, attached to those energies and emotions, then you're going to say to yourself, man, how can I be a part of a perfect source if I am all this stuff, right? But all this stuff is not really true or real. It's just an idea that you've bought into, and that you can release by forgiving yourself. And by understanding that I forgive myself because I'm just going to use this to learn, grow, heal, and awaken. And so I'm going to use this like God would for good. So I don't need to, if I'm using something for good, why would I have to punish myself? No. I'm going to forgive myself so I can be free of that judgment. Point number 5. Practice forgiving others. Again, if you're in a state of judgment, if you're judging your brothers or sisters, don't condemn yourself for that. You just catch yourself doing that, and then you remind yourself, wait a second. God, perfect love, co-created their journey with them. So their journey must be perfect for them. Maybe I can't understand why they're acting or reacting or thinking or saying or doing X or Y. Okay? Maybe my little brain doesn't understand that right now. But my brain does understand that God is using all for good, and that each one of us has co-created our journeys with perfection. And their journeys must be perfect for them. They will awaken at their own pace. I don't need to be stuck in judgment. When my brother or sister is simply sleeping, and they will awaken when they're ready to awaken. And when they do, I'll be there for them. And I'm there for them now, even when they're asleep. I'm making the coffee right now. And when they're awakened, I'll give them the coffee. And point number 6, be your own cheerleader. Okay, the ego has you judge yourself, then has judge yourself and others, then it has you judge yourself for judging yourself and for judging others. And so you see, the ego's program is just a downward spiral of judgments and self-judgments and more judgments. Anything to separate you from your peace of mind. And so when you find yourself in judgment, just remember, there's another way to react. I can choose peace instead of this. I'm patting myself on the back for recognizing that I don't belong aligned with the emotion of judgment. I don't belong there, because there I don't fulfill my function as the light of the world. I belong here, at one with the state of peace. And I come from there to here through the act of forgiveness. Forgiveness of self, forgiveness of my brothers. And then you know what? I pat myself on the back for doing that. Because when you recognize that, when you come back to center, come back to peace, what happens? You begin to create a heaven on earth. Not only for yourself, but for all those around you. When you're in judgment, you create the hellish mindset. And you create a hell for yourself and everybody around you. We're not here for that. We're here to create a place where people can remember who in truth they are. And by being at peace, by creating a heavenly state of mind, by creating a heavenly state of a heavenly environment around you, by lighting that way for others, you help create heaven on earth. So you know what? Pat yourself on the back. It's okay. It has nothing to do with ego. It's just saying, oh, you know what? I've judged myself enough. Let me just pat myself on the back for beginning to create the heavenly mindset here on earth, for being a light in this world, the light that God created me to be. All right. That's those 6 points, long enough. And so the more you practice that, the more natural it becomes, those 6 steps. And so, yes, it seems like we've been 12 minutes explaining this, but the more you practice it, that time condenses. And you can let go of judgment quicker and quicker. And you can come back to peace quicker and quicker. And so the quicker you come back from the delusion, from the ego's fairy tales, back to your truth, back to your solid foundation of love and peace and forgiveness and compassion and kindness and healing, the more time you will spend in this space and the less time you will spend reading those fairy tales that are not real or true or you. All right. Thank you very much for your time. I love you very much. If you can be so kind as to like, comment, or share this video, it would help with the listening process. It might help somebody find this who can maybe start letting go of their judgments and aligning more with the truth in them, which is love and forgiveness and peace and compassion, kindness and joy, and all those beautiful things. Again, if you made it this far, thank you very much for your time. I love you very much, and God willing, we will see each other tomorrow. Peace.